Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is another update here in late April. These are half of the pussy willows that I started from cutting. I bought off the internet. When I bought the cutting, they had the little fluff ball, like the little, their flowers, all up and down the stems. These are designed to be an early season pollen source for beehives planted around water sources on the homestead. But I got to grow them up past the deer so that they don't browse this. So I'm going to be uppotting these into maybe gallon or 2-gallon size pots and then growing them out this year at my house and then next year on the homestead. These are some figs. These are the last to root, or at least to show that they're successful. I bought these extra tall tree pots but I didn't fill them all the way. And then I kind of just used them as like fig pops kind of thing, but in the tree pot. So this is my son's mint that he just ripped out the ground and put in some of my soil. So he's growing this out. He watered it, I think it was yesterday. This is something that I'm hardening off, but I just brought it back inside because it was kind of looking a little sad. Today is his first day outside. These are, I think like Boston squash. I think something like Boston or something like that. These are not really healthy looking. I think it's a soil mix that I used, but they'll grow, they'll live. But these are our tomatoes for the season. Mostly cherry tomatoes, and then in the back there's Cherokee purple, but not many Cherokee purple even germinated. It's really just this one, Sunrise Bumblebee, like a yellow blushed cherry tomato. My trees are doing okay. Money tree, got a fig tree, fiddle leaf fig with a couple tops on it, looking decent, nice and glossy. Look at that. So loving a terp tea, it seems. This fig is not as good looking. I bent this by accident, but it doesn't look bad. I've been growing these out for a year now, each tree. So let me show you everything outside. Most of everything else is outside. Here's a makeshift nursery. There are the rest of the pussy willow there. Some more figs that are farther along, and then these actually. Don't look bad. Okay. Well, yeah. Let me get them in some shade. And then these are the rest of the flowers that I'm growing out. Some calendula on this side and hibiscus on this side. This is their first day in the sun, though. So we'll see what happens with them. And then some of the weaker peppers that I did not up pot quite yet are here. So, but as far as like the figs, I don't know if I can even get to them to show you what the varieties are. But I got rich tasting like berry figs for the most part. These are a couple of the remaining bee balm that aren't that healthy. This is, I gotta get these in the shade. This is their first day in the sun as well. Those are mullein flowers for breathing, for lung health. Some of my weaker peppers here. This one is a pepper peach, and that one is a Freeport orange Scotch bonnet. This one is Zabrange, I believe. I think this is Zabrange. I have a fig I got from Home Depot. There, that's looking decent, nice and glossy, extremely glossy, really nice looking. They're my overwinters here. I just took some stuff out. I got to take that inside. These are the other two figs that are farther along than even the one in the little makeshift thing. Now they seem to have started coming down with some kind of weird, like, and not all of them, but like enough to notice, like. So I thought, let's take them outside earlier than I wanted to and let the UV take care of it for me. So we'll see what happens. But these are now being hit with UV rays. So if there was anything going on, hopefully it took care of it. The soil looks moist, but not saturated, like completely saturated. Some more of the figs that did not make the cut to go into the larger pots just yet. Even the overwinters didn't either. Like this one like lost a lot of leaves, and as you can see, it's not really, well, yeah, it is barely starting to try to grow them back, but not looking all that great. Not horrible either. Like there's flowers on them. There's tons of fruit on them, but I didn't really feel comfortable putting them in my larger pots when I can use them for more vigorous growing plants. So this is some of the rest. Some more Scotch bonnets. This is an Aleppo. These pods, this is not Aleppo, I'm sorry. This is a Bacia Apesio. They ripen a chocolate brown, dark chocolate brown. Super rich, earthy, kind of raisiny, sweet tasting pods. Very good for flavoring up stuff. Probably gonna kill this one off here. This is a duplicate of that one, which has always been the strongest one anyways, that one over there. So I'm probably gonna take all the rest of these to the homestead and put them in the larger beds, not like this, because this is like for a lot of my seed saving kind of efforts. So I have a daddle here with fruits. So basically all this already is fruiting as well as some of the overwinters, but I got my Scotch bonnet Freeport there, all the way back in the very corner there. Another, Peppa Peach. There, Aleppo there, not looking the best either. It's looking really dry. But I gotta water it because this bed was already dry when I planted it. So I planted it into a dry bed. Let's see here. This is another Peppa Peach and Zabrange with pods. Decent sized pods too. There, and then here is, I think, another Zabrange. Yep, another Zabrange here. Aleppo, overwintered chocolate butla. I think this is also a Zabrange here too. Peppa Peach, and then again, that was as I mentioned before, the Scotch bonnet. So that is everything. I'm growing these out in earth boxes. So they're bottom irrigated. So there's about 2 gallons, 2.5 gallons worth of a reservoir on the bottom, and the soil starts about there. So you're not getting 12 inches of soil. You're getting like maybe 8 or 9. I wish they're a little bit deeper, but from what I'm reading, like the water can't really pump up higher than about this much. So this is about the top, the highest you would want it to be, but I still would want it to be a little taller. If I had the chance, maybe another 3 inches or so taller. But so these are I think these are about 15 gallons is what they end up being for soil. So I got 7. I had 8, but I gave my parents 1. I did run out of the tops for the kind of to reflect the sun heat so that they don't heat up as much. Because here in the middle of summer, you got to really worry about your pots heat, like that black one. If that canopy doesn't like overlap it, or if I don't cluster the pots close enough to where the tops of the plants like shade the neighbor pots like below, then I'm really worrying about the roots overheating in the middle of summer. But for now, I'm just putting them out. It doesn't really matter because it's not really 90 yet here, so, or 100 for that matter. Yeah, so this is it. I'm really excited for this one because it's a really vigorous grower, and as some of these others that you saw here with a ton of like too many. This might be my seed saver from this variety. If these fruits are also very like a fruity flavor, like not just sweet. So I'll do a taste test as well. But this one so far looks like the most prolific that I have of that variety. The figs, I'll be up potting these probably in a 2 or 3, probably about 3 gallons for this season. And then, grow them out in 3 gallons next season maybe as well. Then I'll do a taste test, make sure that I pick the most vigorous ones, and then probably put those up into a um, maybe a 7 gallon from there. I don't really have it identified yet, but these are all a work in progress. So yeah, that's it. The homestead, though, I'll give you an update on that. Is doing well. Oh, a storm actually took this whole wall down, so it's been repaired with those newer planks. It's been brought back up. This thing that was already kind of falling over, they left it there, and I don't have a dump truck or I don't have anything to take it out with, so it's still here. But as far as the homestead's concerned, onion beds are looking amazing. The broccoli beds are looking amazing, and we have a comparison of bed soils as well. So we have good bed, bad bed, and two or more for a comparison of each, so that we know. And so one we use like a bagged soil, not like build-a-soil stuff, which is really fluffy and like just really good, especially with those rice holes. And it's not like even like Fox Farm. This is kind of fluffy, not as fluffy as build-a-soil, but still decent. It was just bag soil. And then the other beds we use, sandy loam soil mixed, I think it was what they said was half and half with a compost. And the compost was from leaf mold and arborist waste mixed together. I don't know what the ratio was, but the ratio of the soil itself, at least, was half compost, half sandy loam soil. Those beds are doing amazing. Even last year, they did awesome. We're not walking on the beds because they're raised beds, so there's no compaction really. We mulch the top, so the rain is not compacting this, because rain can also kind of a little bit compact the soil if it's bare. So last season in those 4x8s, the pepper plants were like 3 times, the leaves look immaculate. They were way bushier, and I think there was 8 plants per bed, and they just came just one huge forest of leaves. And we harvested just gallons of pods off of that one bed alone. This year it looks about the same. So the broccoli is in that bed. The broccoli looks amazing. So some of the onions look good. And I have a pure onion bed also in that same soil, looks amazing. But in that bag soil, it's yellowing and it's just not good at all. And I know, like growing in pure compost can work, but I don't know, like I never have good experiences growing in too much compost on as a percentage of the overall soil mix. It seems that like consensus is, cut that compost down to like 15%. If you need to add fertility, you can add it another way. Maybe charged biochar, or maybe just granulated organics, chicken manure, composted chicken manure on the top layer of the soil. And then when you water it in, when it rains it down to the roots as the way nature intended. So these plants here, this grass is here every single year. It doesn't go, and it's not just grass either. It's like other stuff as well. And I do know weeds grow easier, obviously, than vegetables, but even in rainforests, you have the manure and you have the duff, which is like dead plants that decompose to the top of the soil. And then when the rain comes, it rains it down to where the roots are. And you have feeder roots that come up to this to meet this and feed off the top, 3 inches of the soil. But if we kind of mimic that here, we'll have less root rot. So in those beds, what I'm experiencing is that the beds with more earth and not as much compost are doing better than the beds with just compost. And now leaf mold, I think, is a safer bet because it's a slower decomposition. It doesn't off gas as much nitrogen like a hot compost pile does. It's more fungal dominant, and I think you can use a higher percentage in the root zone of leaf mold as long as your pots aren't heating up in the sun. So let me touch this. It feels at least 105, 110. But it's barely spring. Like imagine this in the summer. So hopefully I can get these clustered up good to where this one you can see it's kind of shading. Like if I was to pull it out. Well, the sun is more behind me this way. So yes, if I pull this out here, it's starting to shade the pot. So if I do that number on them, as the canopies grow. And I'm going to be up potting these as well. So these aren't even close to the size that they're going to need. I'm going to need at least 15 gallons each. But if I put them in the closer to where canopies are shading the pots below, I don't have to worry so much about that. Yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, let me know. I did research these as far as for bee nectar for bees, and bees are not attracted so much to these. Bumblebees are, but these are these are a specific plant to where they grow out 1 year. So this year they won't flower, but I did get an early start on them, so next year they should flower. But they'll last a couple of years before they die. They don't flower first year; they flower second or third year when they die. So, but by then they would have seeded. Oh yeah, and then the bachelor's button here are good for tea and nectar. Bees love them, and so I planted a lot of these in the orchard. These are the last two I have left that I did not plant in the orchard on the homestead. But what we want to do is start developing the understory there. So we got bee balm and clusters of 2 each per bee balm planting, to where they'll kind of condense into just one bigger plant. Because bees like it where the flowers are like condensed together more than like, they prefer trees for that matter more than they prefer like flowers and forbs across the landscape, like in the grasslands. So they'll go to trees, and then down the road they'll come back and they'll hit your bachelor's button, or they'll hit some other plant, like soybean, like in the middle of trees blooming. So it'll tie them over until the next bloom of trees happens. So normally, if you're planting for bees, you want an early spring, you want a midsummer, and then you want like an early fall flowering variety of trees, to where you're growing 20 or 30 of each variety that flower in a specific season. That way, in the middle of those trees flowering, then you would have your forbs or your flowers. You'd have your legumes, flowering legumes, to tie them over in between that. So that's kind of what this is, but also to bring beneficials to the orchard as well, to kind of combat some stuff and just to have better pollination of the fruits as well. So we have clusters of bee balm, clusters of the bachelor's button here so far. We're going to be having some calendula here soon as well on the orchard. So this weekend, I'm going to go plant these here. I wish I had quadruple this many. So we had the first swell planted. We have 5 swells total. So this weekend, I'm going to go to the second swell downhill and then plant these. Or I might just put them all on the first swell. Yeah, you know what? I'll just put these on this first swell in the middle of the other plantings of the bachelor button and bee balm that we already have there. That's what I'll do with these. But calendula are really good for skincare. And hibiscus is just really good for a lot of stuff. Very high level of phytonutrients in this. Also really good for making tea, really good for making jam with the hibiscus flowers. So yeah, that's really it. So we're off to a really good start. I think we have an early production of fruit this year. I didn't time things perfectly. I should have started my peppers a month later, and I should have like mixed my own personal soil and not just because I had to resort to Home Depot for some of this stuff. So this stuff is a result of Home Depot's soil. So I took some topsoil, a bag of topsoil from them, and then I took a bag of what was the other thing? Let me pause it real quick. Mushroom compost. But when I opened the bags, they were highly compacted. Just crazy compaction on those bags. And then I mixed them in with some cocoa coir and perlite. And that's kind of what you have here. This is dead, but this is kind of what it looks like. Now, at least. So not the worst looking stuff. It still looks fluffy, but they don't like it all that much, I don't think. These don't do well. And I even fertilized them a couple times too with some turp tea, a liquid organic fertilizer, but they're not happy at all. So that was another mistake this year, was just not, I planned, but I didn't plan all the way. So But as you can see, there's still some progress and some good results, even with my mistakes. Again, thanks a lot for watching. Any questions, just definitely ask me and others in the chat. And you'll see us again here maybe in another week. Have a good one.